All right, I was just downstairs making a cup of coffee, and I wanted to have a thought, or I had a thought. And, it got me thinking about my case. Here I got court on the 26th to finally find out if they're going to actually have a trial with me or not. Because regardless, I'm going to ask for a trial. I have a right to one. I believe I am innocent. And I would like the jury of my peers to decide. And it got me thinking. Well, the conflict of interest in the Hancock court to begin with is kind of relevant. They're a part of town. I'm a part of town. If it goes to jury selection, because inevitably with a Class D felony over it, that I would have a right to a trial. And so how does it work in the Hancock court? Do you bring 12 people into the building down there where I didn't have court that day, or does it get routed out to Delhi anyways? And it brings into the question, how are these people my peers? Give me 6 people from town and 6 people that showed up to whatever emergency meeting they had about my terrorist case in the newspaper, and let's do that, Judge. Let's actually take in consideration what it means to the jury selection and jury duty about this responsibility. Should I think 12 regular snowflakes should get involved that have no idea who I am or what had happened in a county or district out away from my own? That's insane. I'm basically, because somebody in Brady back in the day tried to pull some shit off for a senator, doesn't necessarily mean that's what's defined by the law here. It doesn't mean it's what's correct, nor the luminosity or the nature of science and facts in these situations. When it's all one-sided like that, and I could take those 6, or at least any 6 that they had at that meeting, to really say, is this the information that they gave you? They had a trial without me present. They conducted models without doing it. So what would be the difference of now that the court system's inside of here, and I have the right to be able to speak at certain positions inside of here, object to the notation, or just boldly call out what is lies and bullshit, if not straight slander in the situation, not based on any level of factual information. When somebody's not there to be able to defend themselves, or you don't give them the proper notation, Your Honor, to be able to poll in the people responsible, let's say the ability for me to face my accusers, the ability for my public attorney to be able to subpoena information like the camera footage of the building when they tried to arrest me the first time, the aspect of me omitting being able to do my video cameras of how I asked for complaint forms, the nature of the timeline of after the cops were called the first time and these things, and I was told them that I was pushing a legal matter, that there was any reason to call me at all about the situation, that there was no reason for 4 cops to come up to my house without a warrant and then ask me these questions, that there was no means or responsibility in anybody's department over there beyond following orders and having everybody buried in this concentration camp. And at what point in time, when you're trying to get a part-time job, one of the better ideas in this notation, that denial of entry in retaliation because of malfeasance, whether it just be the nature of they forgot to put keep the ad in the paper, they didn't define the standards of the job criteria in the minutes, and the pay transparency issues, it didn't even abide by putting it into the paper incorrectly. When these things are left undone, what am I supposed to think? That only this person there, regardless of their terms, well, they are going to have to listen to somebody at some point in time about complaint forms, about HTML web pages, about the way you define these systems, and if they have those systems, the best and functional way to train these people. More so over when we look at it from a regional perspective, who else was going to need this job at the standards of who's sitting on it and how defined their job is. How do we do things to make sure we videotape these tasks so we know how to highway control technician, so we know how to arbor in this situation, that we have somebody prepped and ready instead of constantly buying somebody from outer sources that we don't know. Beyond this, without to rant and rave, Your Honor, or jury, anybody else that just has to be in this process, because an intelligent man has gone to the vocalization of determining their dominance, which they absolutely should in terms of the way something is probing their barrier, without cause. That there comes a time in a point when intelligence is dangerous for many reasons, whether it just be a health standard, an isolation standard, or the ability to say things like this are going to happen when you challenge the Feynman astrologist from modern times about the moon orbitals or the transition of Venus or the astronomical unit or any other standard that comes into this packet that determines the forces in a virtual Rosicrucian and how that was supposed to better the situation. Nobody likes to be scared, but it's that fear that makes us more prepared for the tigers and short-faced bears that exist outside. So will I get a fair trial? Will I get the ability to have proper representation in here? Will anything be answered for the delay of justice in this notation? And when we look at the term justice, what happens when we don't stand up for it? What happens when we passively in the room let these things go by and do nothing for the people that were unjustly treated?